Hi, this is Tim with Shop Tool Reviews. Stick around in a few seconds. We're going to be using Ingersoll Rand's 8-inch geared orbital sander. So this is the Ingersoll Rand 328B 8-inch geared orbital sander. Now let's talk about a few of the features of the sander. So first, you've got the geared rotation or that forced rotation. And what that means is it's not going to freely spin or freely orbit. If it's orbiting, it's also going to spin and vice versa. If you're stopping one action, you're stopping both. So that's the difference between a typical DA or typical orbital and this 8-inch geared rotation. So it's going to really be a lot more aggressive than a typical DA or a typical orbital. That's why typically you see this with a course grid on it. I like to run a 36 on it for kind of my first pass on body filler versus a typical orbital where I may be running 80 or even 100, 120, something like that. Now, let's talk about a few of the features. So you've got the hold down trigger here, which is that's really all that is to activate the gun. So you can grab this when you grab the handle. It's also got a nice finger hold here, made of metal and covered in plastic, so you can easily grab that. And it is a heavy tool. So this is not a light tool, so that finger hold comes in handy so your fingers aren't sliding down into this rotating drum, if you will. So that really comes in handy with the tool. Now, I mentioned it's heavy. I really like it in this aspect. A lot of times I don't like to have a heavy tool. It kind of wears you out. But in a tool like this, you're wanting the weight of that tool and the grit of that paper to be doing the work. So typically, I'm going to plug an air hose on this. I'm going to lay it on that surface and basically just work that back and forth across that surface. And I'm going to let the weight of this tool and the aggressiveness of that paper actually do the work for me. Rarely am I going to put any pressure on it. And I don't want to work grooves into my work either, or valleys into my work. You've also got a throttle here that you can operate with your thumb, or you can operate with your other hand, kind of dial in whatever RPM you like or whatever power you like, input you want. It is a 900 RPM tool, so it's typically very low compared to a lot of sanders or any tools you typically work with. And again, it's meant for that first pass of being aggressive, not for finish work. This is not something you're wanting to be, using for your finish work. Some people may, but again, most of the body men that I know, most of the painters that I know, as well as me, like to use this for that aggressive kind of first pass work on that body filler. Now, how do I like to use this tool? Well, even the best body man, when they're laying out body filler, they can get it pretty slick, but most of the time you end up with ridges and you got high spots and low spots. And before you start blocking that out, you can hit it. I like to hit it with something like this. And again, with this larger surface area than your typical, orbital that may be about this size, now we can actually work a bigger area using the weight of this tool to keep it flat and to get those highs and lows a lot closer so that we can start blocking those out. In preparation for the filler, I like to use the 328B with that 36 grit paper to put some nice deep scratches in that metal so that that filler's got something really good to bite onto. And then obviously using that first pass with this on the filler to knock down those high spots and valleys and prep for blocking. So this is our 1971 Olds 442 hood, and we've got the front half stripped here on this side. And we're going to put a nice skim coat of filler on this and then knock that down so we can block it out and make sure we're good and level. But first I want to put some nice deep scratches in here with the 328B. Also, one thing, make sure that you're using a good supply of air. So not just your compressor, but like I've got a nice 3/8 Bluebird air hose here that's going to supply plenty of air to the tool because it is an air hog. It does need volume. It does need running 90 psi. So anyway, just make sure you're giving it enough air. So you can see we've got our bare metal now. I've just wiped it down with some prep with some wax and grease remover. And so now we're going to apply the filler on there, and then once that filler hardens up, then we'll take the 328B and we'll knock it down and see how it does. And we can start blocking that out and just kind of wear ourselves to death with that block, or we could take something like the 328B with the forced with the forced rotation, and we could knock that down. So again, I'm going to use just the weight of the sander and let it sit on there and kind of do its work. And you can see that with the broad base, that it sits nice and flat, and it's eating away plenty of material, and it's not jumping around, and we're not wearing grooves. So within just a couple of minutes of using the Ingersoll Rand 328B, we've got it to the point where we can now start blocking it. You see we have no shiny spots sticking through, so we've got no high spots poking through. And now we could even spray a guide coat if we wanted to, or we can just start blocking this out and then get it ready for primer. This tool worked extremely well, the Ingersoll Rand. There are a few variations of tools like this from different manufacturers. I really like Ingersoll Rand's. Like I mentioned, you can see it in action. It worked well hitting those high spots, knocking those down, and being able to prepare that to be able to be blocked out. Ingersoll Rand backs up the 328B with a 1-year warranty, so you're covered on any of the parts or any of the problems that you may have for a year. And really and truly, if you're oiling this, on a daily basis as you use it, this is really going to last you a long time. It's great quality. We had it torn apart, looking at all the parts, and really seems to be good quality stuff. You don't see much plastic on this machine, a lot of metal. I think you'll really like the tool. You ought to check it out. Again, it's the Ingersoll Rand 328B. You can find it on Amazon for 120 bucks, so it pays for itself very quickly. It's got a 1-year warranty, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel and keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Have a great day.